C'est bon. Ok, on enlève ça. Bam. Bon, je voulais regarder la finale des trucs de Lille, mais ils sont pas finis. C'est que le jour 1. TCG. C'est que le jour 1. Il n'y a pas VGC. Si, VGC, jour 1. Donc, on le regardera quand ce sera fini. On en fera une petite vidéo. Petit VGC Lille. Petit VGC de Lille. C'est quoi ça? Fildrong. Et David Lafarge. Incroyable. Les deux plus grands youtubeurs Pokémon français.
Ah ouais, c'est bon.
Ça, je laisse
bon.
dans la vidéo, mec.
J'ai zéro... Ah ouais, mais j'ai zéro rythme.
Salut à tous, c'est Fildrong, j'espère que vous allez bien.
Ok,
on
hop.
se retrouve aujourd'hui dans une vidéo
On va manger aussi, hein. Désolé.
que je ne pensais pas faire un jour. Parce que cet homme est buzzy as hell. David Lafarge, bonjour.
Mec, incroyable d'être sur la chaîne de Fildrong, les gars.
Là, on est chez toi, hein, par contre. Hein.
Oui, mais on est sur la chaîne de Fildrong.
On est sur la chaîne de Fildrong.
C'est fou ce qui se passe. Bah, David Lafarge Pokémon est très heureux de vous parler.
Alors, pourquoi on fait un feat?
Ouais, pourquoi on fait un feat?
Parce qu'en fait, je suis invité au royaume du TCG. Attends, comme ça.
Ouais.
Royaume du TCG, la convention de cartes. Vous savez peut-être que ça fait à peu près 1 an et demi que je collectionne les cartes. Et j'ai été à la convention en fait Belgium TCG, dont le chef, le grand Manitou, est un associé de David sur le royaume TCG.
On a 50-50 du royaume du TCG.
Voilà.
Lui s'occupe de l'organisation et moi de ramener du monde et de faire ma petite magie là-bas. Voilà, et c'est...
Et du coup, moi j'adore les cartes, je suis complètement accro aux cartes et tout. C'est vrai que j'en parle moins sur ma chaîne qui est concentrée sur le jeu vidéo. J'ai fait quelques lives d'ouverture quand même et des petits trucs par-ci par-là. Et franchement, bon, je comprends. C'est vrai que c'est marrant parce que au début, quand on se connaissait, j'étais en mode putain, mais comment il met autant de foi dans les cartes Poké? Et à l'époque, je comprenais pas. Aujourd'hui, je comprends, tu vois.
Ça me fait plaisir, oui.
En gros, l'idée, c'est on va ouvrir des trucs et il faut savoir que David est un grand ouvreur de cartes. Mais le jeu vidéo, c'est...
Ah, c'est autre chose.
C'est pas trop ça. Donc moi, ce que j'aime bien, c'est on va mélanger un peu le côté ouverture et derrière, on va mélanger avec le côté jeu vidéo. Alors, on va commencer par ouvrir. C'est toi le professionnel de l'ouverture, donc tu vas nous dire par quoi tu voudrais
Des jalapenos,
de toute façon,
il y a
je
des
vais te poser des
concombres,
questions sur
il y a
les
des
Pokémon.
poivrons, olives, poulet teriyaki, oignons.
J'ai perdu la fameuse Giratina alternative pour
Maman.
reconnaître.
Ouais, il est trop
Et ça,
beau.
c'est la dernière série en date, la méga évolution pour l'arrivée de Zelda. Voilà.
Ok. Bah on va commencer. Moi je propose qu'on commence par le dernier set.
Ouais,
On en
vas-y,
fait
ouais.
5.
On en fait 5, vas-y.
Ah, on se lève. Alors
adore la
attention,
télévision.
va y avoir du contact avec David.
Faut pas parler en vidéo. Ouf, attention.
Tout ça je laisse, hein, tu sais. Hein.
Non, mais il est, mais
Moi
mec,
je suis le roi du pas de montage.
Bon, les gars, je vous montre les grosses cartes quand même à avoir. C'est ça.
Tiens.
Non mais en plus ce qui est marrant c'est que j'aurais pu, tu sais, mettre le PNG.
Non, mais là, c'est esquive du montage.
Ah
mec,
oui, non mais tu esquives du montage parce que tu les as les cartes.
Je t'esquive du montage, j'enlève un peu de lumière, voilà, hop. C'est super. On est bien là ou pas?
Ouais,
Qualité
on est
de
bien.
vidéo.
Mais par contre, j'espère que t'es prêt parce que je vais compter les points hein,
Mais mec, non, mais...
sur les questions que je pose.
Mais vous le savez, moi je suis bon en cartes Pokémon, j'aime bien et tout, mais le...
Tu connais Méga Gardevoir un peu? Tu connais son talent?
Oui.
C'est quoi son talent?
Vœux débordant? Non.
Pas du tout, c'est son attaque.
J'ai regardé. Pourquoi c'est pas marqué sur la... Ah si.
Mais
Attends.
c'est pas son talent ça David.
Attends, mais...
Ok, écoute.
Il y a forcément marqué son talent quelque part.
Mais non, son talent dans le jeu.
Oui, bien sûr. C'est... Il a
Ok.
beaucoup de talent, Gardevoir, c'est ça qui est cool, il a un très beau
Tu
talent.
connais aucun talent. Tu connais son type au moins ou pas?
Oui, psy.
Bah non.
De Gardevoir.
Depuis la 6ème génération. Ah là je t'ai donné un indice.
Ah, fait.
Psy-fait, ouais. Bon ça va.
Et Lionceau.
Tu t'échappes, mais franchement, putain, mais c'est tellement qualitatif.
Par contre, c'est beau.
La
Mal.
négo, c'est...
Tu sais que j'adore cette vidéo, va être légendaire. Hein.
Ok.
Ok.
Reboring, Sinistra.
Israël, attention. Alakazam. Question
Allez, c'est
Alakazam.
parti, je la laisse là du coup. Vas-y.
Est-ce que tu savais qu'Alakazam était la seule méga évolution qui avait gagné des statistiques entre la 6ème et la 7ème génération, vrai ou faux?
Donc, mais Galagam, je sais qu'il a plein de cuillères autour de lui.
Ouais.
Il a gagné des
Il
statistiques.
n'y a aucune méga évolution dans le jeu qui a gagné des statistiques entre la 6ème et la 7ème génération, à l'exception d'une. Est-ce que c'est méga Alakazam?
Et ben, je pense que oui, mec.
Ouais, en vrai, j'ai un peu orienté la question.
Oui,
et oui,
parce que
effectivement.
sinon, tu m'aurais jamais posé cette question.
Effectivement,
Trop,
effectivement. Il a gagné de la défense spéciale.
Allez, c'est parti. J'espère qu'on va quand même avoir une belle carte aussi, hein. Faut dire la vérité. Hein.
Bah oui.
Oh,
Rapace des pics.
Rapace de pique.
Elle est marrante en vrai.
Ouais, mais la
Putain,
série
mais
est
ton
belle.
angle,
Hein.
il est trop bien. Oui, j'avoue, c'est lutin, trop mignon aussi.
Qu'est-ce que t'as dit quoi, mon encre? J'ai pas compris.
Ton setup, il est incroyable.
Ah bah c'est très gentil.
C'est trop stylé. Genre la qualité.
Bon, ça fait juste 25 ans que je fais ça. Puissance premium pro.
Attention, attention.
Oh, ok.
Qui alors?
T'as une question sur le jeu?
Bien sûr, j'ai des questions sur tous les Pokémon du jeu.
Énergie, vas-y.
Est-ce que c'est vrai que Pikachu fait plus de dégâts que Kyogre?
Mais ça dépend du Pokémon en face, non?
De manière générale. En termes de puissance.
Pikachu balle lumière? Merci, fais pas plus de dégâts.
Eh bah, mais c'est Kyogre. J'ai 4 ans, c'est un légendaire. Non, en plus, je sais.
En plus, il y a un piège dans la question, c'est ça qui est horrible. Ok, tu n'es pas sans savoir que Pikachu a accès à un objet spécial qui s'appelle la balle lumière.
Oui.
La balle lumière va doubler l'attaque spéciale et l'attaque de Pikachu s'il porte la balle lumière. Il n'y a que lui qui a cet effet avec cet objet.
Ok, et bah écoute, en fait t'es très gentil, mais je pense que oui, Pikachu fait plus de dégâts que Kyogre.
Et non, c'était un piège dans un piège. Pikachu tape plus fort que Groudon parce qu'il a plus d'attaque que d'attaque spéciale.
Ok, putain. Okay.
Mais il tape à peine moins fort que Kyogre. Il a l'équivalent de 147 en attaque spéciale.
C'est fou de se dire, moi tu vois, je suis vraiment un noob là-dedans, et c'est fou de se dire que Pikachu tape vraiment moins fort que Kyogre. Je trouve ça fou quand même.
C'est fou.
Je trouve ça fou.
Mais à peine moins fort.
Ok, putain.
Mais genre il tape vraiment genre à 3 points de Kyogre.
Ah oui,
qui est un légendaire qui tape extrêmement fort.
Un big légendaire et tout.
Grâce à la balle lumière.
Ok, et ça c'est un objet que tu lui donnes et tout.
Ouais,
ok.
C'est ça. C'est impressionnant.
Parce que la balle lumière c'est une attaque.
Maman!
Non,
pas du tout.
Pas du tout.
On dirait.
C'est pas grave David. Mais on a eu Kyogre et à la Kazam.
Bah écoute, j'apprends.
Oui,
j'apprends, mec.
Continue, tu t'améliores.
Mais mec, tu peux... oh, là d'où je pars là, mais pour l'instant j'ai répondu à la moitié des bonnes questions, donc ça va.
Fort right.
Et là c'est tellement mon métier que je vais te dire qu'on est une ultra rare, mec. Et je dirais qu'on a un...
Ah ouais?
Et bah je dirais qu'on a peut-être un Lucario, t'es prêt?
Non.
Kangourex.
Non mais attends, mais tu vois les trucs?
Bon, c'est mon métier. Alors, pour le coup, les cartes, c'est bon. Alors, Méga Kangourex.
Méga Kangourex, je peux te poser une question.
Méga Garchant, c'est ça en anglais.
Je peux te poser une question sur le TCG si tu veux.
Bien sûr. Ah oui, vas-y.
Mais le méta.
Oui, la méta TCG, bien sûr.
Tu connais un peu?
Un tout petit peu. Tout petit peu.
Un tout petit peu. Il y a un deck actuellement avec Méga Kangourex qui fait pas mal de bruit.
Ouais, ok.
Il se base sur Kangourex et un autre Pokémon.
C'est la méta
qui est un autre ex. Ouais, la tout nouvelle méta là. C'est Méga Kangourex, c'est un autre Pokémon.
Vraiment, la méta actuelle de Méga?
Oui, actuelle de Méga.
Et bah, je pense qu'il doit se.
Avec qui il se joue? Mais c'est un deck qui est très populaire en ce moment.
Ah ouais?
Non.
Ok, c'est un autre Pokémon X qui est sorti il y a pas longtemps.
C'est un Pokémon de soutien entre guillemets.
Mais qui est sorti il y a pas longtemps, en X.
Qui est sorti dans la 9G, ouais. C'est un set de la 9G.
Qui est sorti en X, un Pokémon de soutien.
Ouais, je crois qu'il était dans un des premiers sets de la 9G. Il est type plante.
Ah, il est type plante, ok. Une X de type plante, bon,
qui accélère des énergies.
Il y a eu Florizard, mais ça doit pas être ça. Il y a eu en X, il y a eu. Putain, mais c'est super dur, mec.
Bah, je sais.
Dis-moi la première lettre parce que si c'est la première lettre, peut-être que je peux trouver. Vas-y.
F.
F pour phare et girafe.
Non.
Non. F pour Florizard, non.
Non, ça aurait pu.
F pour philanthrope.
Attends, type plante il a dit? Sinon j'aurais dit Florges. Je sais pas s'il a eu Nex.
Non.
C'est bien dur là. F pour Flambino, c'est non.
Ouais, Flambino, le type plante.
Ouais, non, c'est pour ça.
Merci David.
non, mais je fais les Flamigator, c'est non.
Non plus. Tu donnes ta langue au chat?
Non, attends, ça c'est terrible là, ce qui se passe.
C'est une question de jeu de cartes. Hein. Donc on sent que là il y a sa dignité qui joue quand même. Ok, l'effet de la carte c'est que tu peux le tuer, ce Pokémon, et attacher 5 cartes énergie plante au Pokémon.
J'espère que c'est vraiment sorti dans les Karaté Violet parce que là je suis en train de me faire toutes les séries, mec. Ne te trompe pas vraiment.
Ouais, c'est 100% sorti dans les Karaté Violet. C'est un Pokémon X. Commence par fort comme fort ivoire. Voilà, au bout d'un moment.
Fortress?
Oui.
Ok, Fortress a juste une full art shiny. Wow, bravo mec. T'es chaud. Et c'est Fortress, le Fortress prismatique qui est plante sur la carte alors qu'il est pas comme ça. Okay.
Exactement.
Waouh.
Voilà.
Ouais. Waouh.
Waouh.
Et alors, ce deck est très très fort. Avec
Fortress, c'est type plante, je savais pas.
Putain, mais mec, t'es super chaud quand même. On va ouvrir notre pack.
Je connais bien le côté je suis la scène compétitive du jeu de cartes.
Mais c'est que c'est super intéressant.
Et j'adore le jeu de cartes
T'as
Pokémon.
tellement de connaissances.
Oh.
euh,
Le jeu de cartes en vrai,
t'as
c'est
tellement
long.
de connaissances,
Genre quand tu
tu peux
regardes,
dire un truc.
quand tu regardes les Worlds,
Colossal,
quand tu
c'est-
regardes les tournois et tout ça, c'est lent.
Oh. Oh.
Mais je pense,
Ça, ça fait plaisir.
juste si t'es un tout petit peu dedans,
Très joli.
genre si t'es intéressé un tout petit peu,
Eric.
Eric.
Oh, Rico qui est très
c'est
joli.
Je vais poser
incroyable.
la question sur ton béro parce que c'est le
Genre c'est
barbie.
incroyable.
Alors, question.
C'est comme Yu-Gi-Oh en
ton
fait.
béro. Alors, ton béro, je
Si,
sais pas
en fait, le
pourquoi,
jeu,
mais il a
le jeu
été
Pokémon
banni
TCG
au
Pocket
moins
là,
de
il est bien parce que
48 heures
ça réduit.
après la
Et du coup,
sortie
plein de gens
de
y jouent
Écarlate et Violet.
parce que ça
Ton béro
réduit
était ban alors que c'est un Pokémon qui est
le terrain et tout ça.
vraiment
Et du coup,
spécial,
c'est
type
plus facile à
spectre
comprendre
pur,
pour les gens.
statistique de base. Mais il y a un truc qui a fait qu'il a été
Comme
banni.
Yu-Gi-Oh avec
Est-ce
Duel
que
Links.
tu sais
Je sais pas si vous avez joué.
C'est son attaque
Bah, c'est
signature.
pareil.
Comment elle s'appelle son attaque signature? Non,
Ça se
elle
respecte.
s'appelle pas. Non,
Si,
David.
confiance, là.
Non, David.
C'est pas ça, merde.
Ça marche pas comme ça.
Mais non, mec, franchement, j'en ai aucune idée sur l'attaque signature.
C'est hommage posthume. Hommage posthume, qu'est-ce que ça fait? Ça vient booster de 50 la puissance du move
Ok.
selon le nombre de Pokémon qui sont morts dans ton équipe.
Ok.
Donc si tu as 5 Pokémon qui sont KO dans ton équipe
Ouais.
et que ce Pokémon est le dernier, tu vas donc avoir une puissance de 300, parce que 50 de base plus 250, et du coup tu fais plus de dégâts qu'explosion
Ouais, c'est cheaté.
avec cette attaque, et donc tu spams et
Ok.
tu one-shot tous les Pokémon. Même
Super.
une résistance prend plus de dégâts que s'il prend un séisme super efficace dans sa gueule, quoi. Il n'y a pas un livre qui
Eh
est
ben.
sorti récemment?
Ah, waouh. Mesdames et messieurs.
C'est pas sponsorisé. Non mais il a sorti un livre sur sa vie qui est très très cool et il m'a pas mal.
Oh, le méga Absol il est beau, la carte elle est belle.
Et
Je l'ai jamais vu.
vous
Moi, je joue pas les
si
cartes,
vous
je joue pas aux cartes.
voulez, évidemment,
Et on
des
peut vous
sociaux.
faire un petit cadeau dans cette vidéo YouTube, je m'y engage. Je vous offre un David Lafarge Illustrator limité à 5000 exemplaires.
Au Royaume TCG, le premier gars qui vient et qui me dit Fieldrong, ma méga évolution préférée c'est machin.
Machin.
Ouais.
Vas-y.
Bah non pas machin mais genre sa méga évolution préférée. Je lui donne je prends l'illustrator et je lui donne.
Alors, elle sera gradée, hein, celle que tu veux offrir. Ça, c'est la mienne.
Ok,
en
bah tu m'en
personnel.
donnes une.
Mais
Parfait.
mec, il y a beaucoup de gens qui vont venir te voir. Hein. J'espère. en
Très
tout
bien,
cas,
très
parce
bien,
que,
très bien, très bien.
Parce que le but, c'est que cette carte, elle est pas mal. Bon, bref, mec,
Ouais,
on a eu un
j'enregistre,
super hit. Là, c'est une full art, mais les full art sont devenus des chase cards. Les chase cards, c'est quoi?
Ah ouais.
C'est les cartes qu'on veut obtenir dans des paquets.
Comment ça se fait que les foulards sont devenus
Parce
des
qu'elles sont vraiment trop belles.
C'est vrai qu'elles sont
C'est
belles.
très rare que les full art soient aussi belles, je dois avoir.
J'avoue.
Ouais, c'est vrai qu'elles sont
En fait,
magnifiques.
on voit, je sais pas si vous voyez, mais derrière il y a le Absol mais de base.
Ouais, c'est ça, mais
En fait derrière,
Ouais,
c'est pas
c'est
la méga
incroyable.
derrière, c'est très très cool.
Ouais. Si tu veux, j'ai les autres Pokémon aussi. Et ça rend super bien, tu vois.
Ouais, ça rend vraiment.
T'as la Latios
ouais,
avec la
tu vois la.
Stibu, tu vois.
Ah ouais,
c'est
elles sont.
super.
Ah ouais, j'avoue, elles sont très cool.
Ouais, elles sont vraiment belles.
Tu vois, Blizzard moins sympa, mais Lucario.
Moi j'aime bien Non mais
Ouais,
oui.
elle est belle.
Ma méga préférée c'est Non mais oui
J'ai
ou
une question sur
Téléfix.
Absol, du
Eh
coup.
bah vas-y, super ça.
Est-ce que Absol est de type ténèbres fée? Parce que tu sais que Gardevoir était type psy et est devenu de type fée au passage à la 6ème génération. Est-ce qu'Absol est devenu de type fée aussi?
Donc là, je me remémore les cartes de Absol dans XY.
Non.
C'est une bonne technique en vrai.
100% que non.
100% que non.
100% que non.
Félicitations. Je t'en ai fait une facile parce que ton béro c'était difficile.
100% que non. Alors, qu'est-ce que tu veux qu'on se prête?
Bah, on a fait les 5.
T'en veux un peu ou quoi?
Allez, vas-y. Je vais faire les évolutions Apaldea.
Ah, bah oui,
Je
si
trouve-
on avait parlé que t'en voulais de ça.
Oui,
je suis content d'en
parce
avoir.
qu'il y a plein de Pokémon de la 9G et du coup je vais te poser des questions sur la 9ème génération.
Allez, attends, mais moi j'ai la question qui est dure.
Vas-y, alors tu sais quoi? Vas-y, pose-moi ta question.
Mec. Yes. C'est pas du tout préparé en plus. Alors. Ah putain, peut-être que t'étais là. Non, je pense pas. Ok.
Ok, c'est quoi la question?
Quel est l'un des seuls Pokémon,
Ok,
quand il évolue,
elle évolue.
il perd des statistiques?
Quand il évolue, il perd des statistiques.
Yes! Parce qu'il y a des Pokémon qui vont, genre par exemple, un sécateur quand il évolue en Cisaiox, il
Ouais.
perd de la vitesse, tu vois.
Mais il augmente quelque part.
Il a le même nombre de stats.
Ok.
Justement, il est un peu spécial.
Là,
pour
c'est
ça.
vraiment. Il y a pas beaucoup de.
Il évolue, il est moins bon.
Ouais,
Il a moins de stats.
c'est ça, ouais.
Waouh! En vrai, je sais pas.
C'est vrai?
Mais je crois pas.
Attends, il évolue à moins de stats?
Incroyable.
Attends.
C'est pas Chenipan en confort, un truc comme ça?
Attends.
Enfin, un truc qui peut rien faire?
J'arrive à piéger le boss. Le boss. Est-ce que
Non,
vous
ça
l'avez
serait trop
entendu?
facile.
Mais j'arrive à te piéger, c'est incroyable, mec.
Non, un Pokémon qui perd des stats en évoluant, c'est un Pokémon d'une génération récente du coup.
Non.
Ah bah Munja. Mais c'est
Ouais,
pas une
mais-
évolution.
Allez, c'est bon, mec. C'est bon, stop. Mais si c'est Mundia quand il évolue, il perd des stats.
Oui. Il a moins de stats que Ningal.
Ouais.
d'accord. Bah oui, bah,
C'est chaud, hein.
mais c'est pas une évolution Munja techniquement. On vient de vérifier, Munja a bien 33 de stade de moins que Ningal. C'est
Eh bah.
Ningal du coup, comme il dit. À mon tour du coup.
Mais t'as trouvé, et les gars, c'est pas un imposteur, il est vraiment...
Munja, ok, j'y avais pas pensé. C'est vrai que vu qu'il a 1 HP, ça baisse de ouf les stats.
Donc là, il y a une très grosse carte
Global.
qui est Magikarp AR.
La Magikarp, effectivement.
Très très grosse carte.
Tu sais que je l'ai.
En français, c'est 1500 € en PS6.
Quoi? Fort. Ok.
Koubé.
Ah ouais, non mais toi t'es un jeune, tu dis Koubé.
T'as quel âge? Mais t'as quel âge, toi? Ah, dis rien, viens. T'as l'heure de l'analyse, t'as 35 ans.
36, mais pas loin.
Parce que t'as dit
Waouh.
2018, 28.
Ok, allez c'est parti.
Je pensais qu'il était beaucoup plus jeune.
Alors, Piétassé. Griboureigne. Bah il y a le Magikarp, je la vois.
Mais quel Magikarp?
Je la vois, tête en poule.
Je tiens.
Oh le rondoudou! Rondoudou les gars, le rondoudou!
Ou ici Arceus.
C'est bon, il a réussi le deck, il a le rondoudou.
Tu déchires ton t-shirt comme moi je fais en vidéo.
Ok, je déchire mon t-shirt, mais comment je rentre chez moi?
Oh, j'ai quelques t-shirts ici.
Ah bon, ça va alors. Granivol.
Ah, ok. Oh, je déteste ce Pokémon.
Gigancel, c'est le Pokémon salé, donc c'est le Pokémon de la commu.
Ah merde!
Non mais t'inquiète, y'a aucun problème.
Gigancel et Dolman, j'ai un vrai problème.
Ouais, t'aimes pas les golems toi en fait.
Bah, Regice, Regirock, Registyle, Regigigas, Regilucky, Regidrago, tout ça, j'aime bien en réalité.
Ouais. Mais Regirock,
Ça y est.
Alors, question sur Regirock du coup. Quel est le type de Regirock?
Roche.
Il y a un piège.
Il est.
Est-ce qu'il y a un piège? Non, il est pas seul combat Regirock.
Mais il est combat, mec.
Regirock, il est combat.
Mais il est juste roche, non?
Mais oui, Roche.
T'as dit il est combat?
Non, mais mec, écoute, moi je vais t'expliquer pourquoi. Mais il faut qu'ils comprennent, les gens. Quand je sors une carte de Regirock, tu penses qu'il a quelle énergie là-haut?
Oui. Ah, tricheur.
Bah, les mecs, mais non. Mais en fait, moi c'est.
Oui, bah oui.
Tu sais, mais pour que vous compreniez, les amis, je suis fan de Pokémon, c'est vrai, mais je ne suis pas du tout dans la strat.
Eh oui.
Mais moi,
donc
pour moi,
oui,
le
bah
type,
oui.
c'est ça. Et c'est pour ça tout à l'heure que tu m'as dit Absol. En fait, je me suis mis toutes les cartes d'Absol. Et il n'y
avait pas le type C.
Mais donc, du coup, il est Roche.
Maintenant, le type B, c'est le type C en plus.
D'accord. Mais si tu veux, Regirock 100%, c'est un petit combat qu'il a en.
Oui, non, mais oui, d'accord.
Tu vois ce que je veux dire?
Je vois.
Bon, il n'y a pas d'énergie.
Je te la valide.
À moitié, tu vois. J'ai une petite excuse.
T'as un petit point. Terraride du désastre. Ah bah, c'est chez moi, ça, je reconnais. Colossinge.
Avec les petits.
Colochat. Est-ce qu'il y a des trucs sympas qu'il y a?
Des fléaux.
Oh.
Sidérella. Allez.
On a fait vite.
C'est moi, ça.
C'est dégueulasse.
Il y a un truc.
Oh,
gros doudou.
Gros doudax.
J'aime bien cette carte.
Combien d'attaques de type fée Gros doudou apprend naturellement?
0.
7.
Non.
2.
Il en apprend une.
Avec la magique?
Il apprend voix enjôleuse, il a pas Moonblast, il a pas Zinglim.
Mais t'es question.
Ouais, bon, d'accord, ok, je m'excuse.
Ah, il a fait. Ah, il a
Par
pas.
contre, un truc où je suis injouable, n'importe quel Pokémon, je sais sa couleur en shiny.
Ah!
Et je m'y engage à 99,9%.
Ok.
Donc n'hésite pas, je connais quasiment toutes les couleurs des shiny.
Ok.
C'est parti, vas-y. Scorwall Shiny?
Scorvol Shiny, il est grisé, comment on appelle ça, pas cacadois, mais moi dans mon point de vue, dans mon nez, c'est grisé, je sais pas comment dire.
Ouais, gris-bleu quoi.
Grisé pour moi.
Ok.
Mais oui, c'est grisé.
Et Nostenfer Shiny?
Elle est verte.
Ok, bon c'est bon.
Non.
Vas-y, tu peux y aller. Hein.
Ouais, bah, tu connais mieux que moi parce que moi les Shiny pour le coup c'est mon gros problème. Flamant Rouge Shiny? Ça je sais je crois.
Flamant Rouge Shiny?
Ah, je vais le piéger sur la 9G. Quelle est la couleur du Shiny Flamant Rouge?
Il est pas.
Je crois savoir, je suis quasiment sûr.
Il est pas juste plus foncé?
Non.
Ou plus clair?
Non.
Si.
Non, il est bleu.
Il est blanc et bleu alors.
Non, il est bleu. David, vas-y cherche. C'est ça ta question.
Attends, Flamant Rouge. Flamant Rouge Shiny. Oh, putain. Il est blanc.
Putain! Yes! Pourquoi dans ma tête il est bleu? Ah vas-y, bon ok, tu mérites le point.
Moi c'est un de mes talents dans Pokémon, c'est par rapport un petit peu à ton suivi, c'est de savoir les shiny.
Ok, stylé. Bon bah moi le shiny c'est vraiment le pire truc pour moi. Ok.
Oh Pikachu il est quelle couleur?
C'est la version bronzée.
Oui c'est ça.
Il est parti
jaune foncé.
Il est parti à Saint-Tropez quoi.
Ouais.
Clavel.
Alors,
Focus,
il y a des trucs ou pas?
Énergie lumineuse, ça c'est toi. Bestombelle, Flamant Roule, Simular.
On n'a pas un hit hein.
Les terres arides du désastre, encore une fois. Et fer de terre.
Fer de terre, c'est nul.
Question fer de terre.
Mais
Moins dur.
Moins niche, c'est tout.
Ok, moins niche. Et est-ce que tu peux deviner sa statistique la plus élevée
Ok.
en te basant sur le Pokémon.
À la défense.
Bien sûr.
Ok.
Bravo.
Merci.
Tiens, qui a le plus de défense? Je crois qu'il a 200 de défense.
J'ai un minimum de logique quand même.
T'inquiète.
C'est gentil.
Je crois qu'il a 200 de défense. Il a une bonne défense.
Avec plaisir. Après, tu sais, tu vas pas. Y a rien à gagner. Hein.
Non, mais j'ai envie quand même
De perf. T'as la gagne, quoi.
Ouais, bien sûr.
Bah oui, c'est normal.
Non, mais plus c'est normal, mais pose-moi une question très difficile aussi. Et puis vas-y. De toute façon, j'assume ce que je sais.
Je crois qu'on a un truc dans celle-là. J'ai cru voir une vraie holographie.
Décale-toi un petit peu. Vas-y.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
Ah ouais, moi je suis nul. Hein.
Oh, mon rêve, tu sais qu'il y a Magikarp là. Parce que vraiment, j'ai envie que tu déchires ton t-shirt, ça serait légendaire.
Ah non, s'il vous plaît.
Corpus.
Oh, il y a un truc, oui. Je crois qu'il y a un truc, ouais.
J'ai vu un truc, mais c'est pas Magikarp.
Ah non, quoi, il y a rien. Ah. Oh, elle brille bizarre la carte.
Tyrannosif.
Elle brille bizarre la carte.
Oh, vas-y.
Tyrannosif.
Zut alors mon t-shirt.
Dégoûté.
Je vais pouvoir rentrer chez moi. Personnellement, je sais pas si j'aurais préféré avoir le Magikarp ou le t-shirt. Question Tyrannosif.
Ouais, vas-y.
Quel est son nom en anglais?
Tyranitar.
Ah.
Tyranitar.
Mais tu peux dire de la merde si tu veux.
Tyrannosif en anglais, c'est. Non, c'est terrible.
C'est pas terrible. Ça commence par un T aussi.
Non, mais je le sais. Je le sais 100%. Bah, c'est Tyranitar.
Exactement.
Ouais, c'est ça.
Bravo.
Ouais.
Tyranitar.
Tyranitar.
Bon, ça va. T'as vu les questions, je les ai simplifiées.
Ça, elle est très gentille cette.
Allez, on va finir avec les 5 boosters d'origine perdue.
Allez, vas-y.
Et c'est toi qui vas les ouvrir. C'est qu'il fait chaud chez toi.
Ouais, il fait chaud là, on commence à transpirer, on va pas se mentir les amis. Ça sent un peu la convention. Alors.
Je me lave pas aussi.
Pareil.
Tu joues à League of Legends?
Non. J'ai un vrai problème avec les jeux vidéo, mec. J'ai été diamant 3 sur Valorant et je suis un très mauvais perdant. Au lieu des claviers qui sont passés. Donc j'ai arrêté les jeux vidéo et j'ai plus vraiment le temps.
Ok. Alors ça, tu me disais que c'est un des meilleurs sets. C'est un vieux set.
C'est un vieux set, ouais, où tu peux avoir la Giratina, la Ptera.
Ce serait, t'imagines? Elle est belle.
Attends, elle est pas mal.
Ah, la Ptera, elle est belle.
Très très belle.
Tu vois, avec les bastions, les trucs et tout.
Mais ça me fait plaisir que tu me proposes de me l'offrir. Franchement, moi, vraiment. Moi, ce que j'aime bien, c'est que tu as la main sur le cœur, David, et vraiment, en plus, comme tu t'engages à le faire en vidéo. Je rigole. Allez, vas-y, ouvre tes boosters.
Alors, finissez. Waouh, il y a un petit coup de pression là. Il a pas cette carte?
Non, mais moi, j'ai pas beaucoup de.
Ok, on s'engage à quelque chose.
Ok, Charter.
Dans ces 4 paquets, il y a Terra, parce qu'elle vaut 400-500 €. On la sort, elle est pour toi cadeau. Allez, je m'y engage.
Ouah, non, mais c'est bon, en vrai, je serais gêné.
Tu fou.
Ouh, la Roserade, elle est
trop
stylée.
jolie. Bravo.
Si Roserade, très sympa.
C'est quoi la génération où Roserade a été la plus forte en stratégie?
Je peux vous dire que Roserade, c'est un Pokémon de diamant et perle. Voilà.
Ouais.
Là, je peux vous le dire. Voilà, ça c'est sûr.
Complètement, c'est un Pokémon de la 4G.
Voilà, c'est ça. Dans quelle génération Roserade a été le plus fort?
Ouais.
7, non?
Son prime, le prime de Roserade.
C'est pas 6 ou 7.
Sa méta, elle était. J'aime bien ce Pokémon. C'est dur.
T'es ton pire ennemi, hein. David, pense à tout ce que tu as accompli.
Bon, mec, écoute, je vais la jouer banale. Je vais pas bluff.
Ouais.
Diamant et perle.
Bah oui.
Ok.
Ok.
Oui,
Bah, pas du tout.
tout simplement.
Moi, je me suis dit.
Il
ça
était
se
très
trouve.
très fort quand il est sorti ce Pokémon.
Ok,
Il
trop
a
bien.
accès à poudre dodo, il peut endormir les adversaires, il peut poser les picots,
Ok,
les
trop bien.
pics toxiques.
Trop bien.
Et ouais, il était très fort dans cette génération.
Ouais, ça me fait plaisir.
Oh, ça fait plaisir.
Allez, c'est parti. Oh.
Ok.
Hop.
Ah oui, non, mais en plus, il y a une manip et tout.
Ouais, des petites manips.
Allez, c'est parti. Porygon, Sepiatop,
Ok.
Larvadar, Écaillon, Mimigal, Mademoiselle.
Colux, Graham, Adam. Oh, mec, incroyable!
Scorvol.
Incroyable!
Question Scorvol.
Ah, mais mec,
Alors,
on a Scorvol River. Ça
question Scorvol. J'ai une question sur Scorvol.
Vas-y.
Pourquoi Scorvol est le meilleur Pokémon de l'histoire?
Et parce que c'est ton Pokémon préféré. Mec,
Waouh.
Là, les gars, voilà quoi. Tiens, mec, souviens de notre vidéo aussi.
Ah, ça, celle-là, je vais la garder,
Et-
tu vois. Ok.
Parce que, mec, En vrai, on n'en parle pas assez qu'on fasse une vidéo ensemble, là, qu'on ouvre des cartes, qu'on parle
Ça
de
fait
jeux
10 ans
vidéo.
qu'on se connaît, hein.
Ça fait longtemps. Très longtemps.
10 ans. Lipoutou, on a commencé sur Gaming Live. C'est ouf.
C'est fou. Mystère.
Love Disc,
Ouais.
Examon.
Ok.
Énergie.
Allez,
Oh, la Porygon est pas mal.
Allez.
Mademoiselle. Oh là.
Ok. Le rêve de vieux, quoi.
Maintenant, c'est une rêve de vieux,
Oui.
Maître Gims. Hein. Mais pour moi, c'est une rêve de jeune. Pour moi, section
Maître
d'assaut.
Gims.
Pour moi, section d'assaut, c'est un truc de jeune.
T'as dit Maître Gims?
C'est pas Maître Gims, Mademoiselle Valérie?
Mais non, c'est pas Kinvey. Oh, je sais plus.
Je sais plus.
Bah si, c'est Kinvey.
Je crois que j'ai jamais entendu cette chanson.
Mais moi, ça me rappelle le
Vous nous direz
collet.
dans les commentaires.
Vas-y, Parasect du coup. C'est là.
C'est Kinvey.
Parasect. Quel est le Pokémon le plus agressif dans Pokémon Légende Arceus?
C'est le Parasect géant avec les yeux rouges
Il
là.
est horrible, il te
C'est
suit.
casse.
Il te suit pendant 1000 ans.
Horrible, mec.
Il est horrible.
Horrible.
Genre, il m'a cassé la gueule.
Les gens d'Arceus, c'est un de mes jeux préférés avec
Exactement,
l'émeraude.
c'est pour ça que j'ai posé la question.
Ouais, bien sûr, mais je m'en souviens. Oh là là, mec, horrible.
Il était infernal celui-là.
Ouais. Ça, c'est pas normal.
C'est un
ça.
reconditionné.
Ah ouais. Alors ça, pour ceux qui vont se poser la question, c'est possible, regardez, que ça arrive dans vos paquets. Je peux vous l'assurer qu'on s'est pas amusé. C'est ce qu'on peut appeler du crimped. Et donc là, il y a des chances que le paquet est refermé sur des cartes et que ça fasse du crimped sur les cartes.
Oh.
Voilà.
Alors, voyons voir.
Rocaillou,
Otaria,
Otaria, Polichon, Machop, Pikachu,
qui est trop mignon.
Énergie,
Spectrum.
Spectrum,
Tétard.
Tétard, Coup de Lampe,
Allez.
Guérinand. C'est terrifiant.
Ah, c'est Guérinand.
Terrifiant. Et ou pas.
Ou pas. Bah, ou pas.
Bah,
tu
ou
vois,
pas.
tu voulais savoir si on allait avoir la carte de ouf ou pas. De quel personnage du folklore ou pas est inspiré?
Ah oui. putain.
Facile.
C'est qui?
Quand tu sais pas, non, c'est pas si simple, mais je sais que je me suis renseigné là-dessus pour avoir des connaissances.
Ok, tu veux un indice?
Ouais, s'il te plaît.
Prince Ali, oui, c'est bien lui.
Malade. Ah non, mais le génie de la lampe, quoi.
Oui.
Ah bon?
Bah oui, c'est un djinn. Alors, tu sais, la carte alternative de Woopa, là, il est dans une salle de trésor et il joue avec un trésor comme le génie.
T'es bien renseigné. Bah, mec, trop stylé cette
Le
anecdote.
génie.
Mais oui, ça se voit, c'est un jean, c'est stylé,
Ouais, c'est
quoi.
un djinn.
Ah, mais
Ok.
oui, la Oupa Hal de Zénith Suprême, tu parles.
Oui, c'est ça.
Oui, bien sûr,
Il
oui.
est dans une salle des coffres comme dans Aladdin.
Mec.
Dernier booster.
Et
de
bah,
la vidéo.
je savais pas.
What the fuck?
Pour moi, c'était
Tu
juste
vois,
voilà, un
là,
génie quoi. Je savais pas que
Ah, j'aimerais bien qu'on sorte une carte.
je sais pas si c'est vraiment pris d'Aladin ou je sais pas quoi, mais c'est juste un génie quoi.
Une photo.
Un djinn.
Ah, regarde. Et pour te
Un
dire.
djinn, c'est pas trop un génie parce qu'un djinn c'est plus un.
Quand t'as un
un
code
démon,
noir,
quoi.
On sait qu'il n'y a rien dans le paquet.
Ah ouais?
Donc il n'y a aucun intérêt qu'on les ait ouverts avant. Ça, c'est quand il y a un code noir, on sait qu'il y a quelque chose. C'est une méta qui a duré 3 ou 4 séries en France.
C'est nul de faire ça.
Oui. Donc si vraiment on avait truqué quelque chose, je préfère le dire. On aurait mis des bonnes cartes à l'intérieur. Parce que là, ça pue sa mère. Là. Voilà. C'est très chiant. Alors Makuita.
Archéomir.
Archéomir, c'est Kamiya qui le fait. Tomakazu Kamiya et
Kamiya.
Chiji Kanda qui sont en train d'exploser les deux
Ouais.
parce qu'ils ont un art qui est très à eux. Et les cartes sont vraiment.
Il est
très
marrant avec
particulières.
la pyramide là.
Oui, puis t'as vu, c'est assez spécial. Tu vois, tu
Ouais,
sens qu'il y a une petite touche
c'est
très
spé, ouais.
spéciale. Ouais, c'est ça. Petit art, Mystère, Porygon 2, Expérience de Nikolai, Arnulis. De la merde ça. Mélodelphe. Oh.
Non, Grand Grigou.
Rongrigou, mec.
Question Rongrigou.
Une question sur
Est-ce que le Pokémon est fort?
Il a.
Il est ok.
Je vais quand même lire sa description. Il amasse tellement de baies dans sa queue. Je m'arrêterai là.
Comme moi. Voilà, bah t'as répondu. Non, il est nulissime.
Il a l'air d'être nul à chier.
Il est nul.
Il est bien nul à chier.
Il a croc de
ouais.
mort quand
Il a l'air
même.
d'être bien nul.
Mais bon,
Putain, mec.
ça pourrait être Fragouin.
Flagouin, ouais, oh là là. Oh, terrible Flagouin aussi.
Tu veux me montrer une Crimped?
Je prends un peu le temps et puis après on
Ouais.
fait ce qu'on a à faire, mais comme ça, j'embête un petit peu la communauté. Alors, il existe plusieurs bugs dans les cartes. Je reprends comme ça, hein, c'est bon?
Ouais,
Il
vas-y.
existe plusieurs bugs dans les cartes Pokémon. Tu vois, par exemple, là, t'as un trio piqueur, tu le retournes, la Pokéball est à l'envers. Et Misprint.
Oh voilà, oui,
C'est
d'accord.
ce qu'on
ouais.
appelle une carte Reverse Down. D'accord? Ici, on a une misprint, une mise alignée aussi. C'est que là, tu vois, il n'y a plus le bord de la carte
Ouais,
en bas,
ouais.
mais il y a trop de full art en haut.
Ouais.
Voilà. Alors qu'elle est parfaitement cadrée derrière. C'est fou, hein?
Ah putain, c'est ouf.
T'as vu, c'est
Ouais,
ouf,
c'est
hein.
pas.
Tu vois, t'as pas mal de
c'est
bugs
pas
qui
lié,
existent. T'as celui-ci, par exemple. Donc là, pareil, c'est sur la gauche. Donc tu vois, ce
Ah
qui est
oui,
fou,
ça.
c'est que là, tu n'as pas de carte. Mais ce qui est fou, c'est que là, t'as plus de cartes et l'illustration est faite pour aller plus loin. Donc
Ouais.
on découvre un peu plus d'illustration.
Ah, c'est cool ça.
Et là, tu
Ah
peux
oui,
voir
oh là
que-
là là là.
Voilà, c'est n'importe quoi. Et je te
Ah
montre ce que
voilà,
je voulais te
donc
dire.
c'est ça le
Ça,
crime.
c'est une crimped. le booster a été refermé sur les cartes et tu peux voir les plis du booster.
Ah, c'est ouf.
Voilà, et là je dis sur une très belle Shaofeng.
Ah, elle est trop cool, ça rend trop bien. Il y a des gens qui collectionnent ces cartes-là.
Ah, moi.
Stylé.
Ah, j'en ai énormément dans ma collection, je suis un grand fan de ça, tu vois, j'ai un Manison qui est complètement buggé. Voilà, tu vois, c'est vraiment n'importe quoi. T'as un Terravestar complètement buggé, et ça arrive souvent quand même.
Trop bien.
Ok.
Sur le récent, sur l'ancien.
C'est vrai que c'est genre... C'est rare d'avoir des cartes
On se revoit au royaume.
qui
Moi,
sont
je serai là, on vous donnera une carte
mal finies.
Donc venez, c'est redonne les dates.
Genre
Bah, c'est
qui
le
ont un
1 et
problème,
2.
c'est rare, tu vois. Donc la carte, elle va valoir encore plus cher. Un Jeep Wrangler, les gars. C'est un Jeep Wrangler. Ok. Alors, il n'y a pas... Y a pas grand-chose, hein. J'aime bien ces vidéos à lui, c'est marrant. En ce moment, en plus, j'aime bien jouer à justement la hutte de barbare avec les barbares et tout ça. J'aime bien jouer ça, c'est marrant. Genre, je suis en full barbare avec le fusil à barbare et tout. Et franchement, ça passe, hein. Ça passe bien, bien, bien. Attends, il va vraiment réussir le 20-0 ? Je crois pas que c'est possible, hein. Moi, je dirais que c'est pas possible.
Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's step into the 20-win challenge. I said this 2 times, I'm going to say this a 3rd time. I'm barely going to be reading chat. I have a really long delay because of the stream snipers. I'm going to achieve my destiny.
Ok, il a pris son deck géant cimetière, son main deck. Donc il rigole pas.
When I completed this challenge in 2018, it took me like 80 tries and I wasn't even streaming. It's going to be a little bit harder with the stream snipers, but I think we can do this. Ladies and gentlemen, my first battle of the 20 wins challenge. I'm playing against Jarmaine here. First battle of the 20 win challenge. Oh my god.
Tiens, vs AL. Attends, il y a T1 vs AL là.
Wait, that's a good start. He might be using royal recruits.
Il y a T1 vs AL.
It's gonna be the greatest clash of using recruits. Let's go. First game's a hard counter for me. Like I said, boys, this is gonna be the greatest achievement of my entire life. Hands down, without a doubt, the greatest achievement of my entire life. Let's go. He's using royal recruits. He hasn't put down his goblin cage yet. I want to make sure that. Okay, I'm gonna boulder the side that's already weak. First ever battle of the 20-win challenge. I have not done one of these challenges since 2019. Yo, look at Kyrie. He has the 20-win emote. Kyrie's spectating me and he's using the 20-win emote. W Kyrie. Okay. This is gonna be a graveyard plus minions. He might arrows the minions, but then he can't arrows the graveyard. Okay, so he arrowed the minions. He can't arrows the graveyard. It's really good giant damage already. Boulder line up, boulder line up, boulder line up!
Attends.
Boulder, yes!
Merde. Faut que je mette la vidéo
Oh my
quand même.
god, the boulder's so good.
Sa caméra, la bug.
Beautiful start to the 20-win challenge. Remember, all leads are losable. If you get complacent, you will lose. He doesn't have cage, so I'm just gonna go in. He's like 2 cards away from cage. Okay, now he has cage. That giant should take the tower, I think. Yeah, it's gonna get just barely 2 hits. I'm gonna go witch on the middle here. Oh wait, I forgot it's tournament standard. So okay, the arrows do 93. It's important to know that because it's tournament standard. Minions on top of the machine.
Okay.
Snowball does 54. Arrows do 93. Boom, tower down. Nice, come on.
Ok. Il a gagné sa première game normalement.
5 seconds of defense. Bro, I feel bad for this guy.
Mais les premières games, ce qui sont faciles, c'est après. Plus tu gagnes, plus tu tombes contre des mecs du coup qui sont forts. Et ça devient de plus en plus difficile.
Chad, remember, I gotta explain to y'all how the 20-win challenge works, by the way, because I don't think people know how it like works fully and why it's so hard. So basically, you have 2 lives, okay? You have 3 lives. So basically, how the 20-win challenge works is, if you lose once, you're still alive. If you lose twice, you're still alive. If you lose 3 times, you're out. You cannot lose 3 times. There's no buy-ins. Everybody's level 11. But the reason why the 20-win challenge is the hardest challenge in the history of Clash Royale is, oh my god, my camera's frozen. That's not good. How long was it frozen? That's not good. That's not good. Where's the
Ok,
How long was it frozen?
Bon, il a gagné sa première game.
How long was it frozen?
Easy, c'est normal.
Okay. Back to what I was saying. The reason why the 20-win challenge is the hardest challenge in Clash. So there's 3 factors as to why. Factor number 1, you only have 3 lives and you have to get 20 wins, which already sounds insane, right? But the reason why it's the hardest challenge in the game is because however many wins you have is how many wins your opponent has. So if I have 1 win, I'm going to play somebody with 1 win. If I have 8 wins, I'm going to play somebody with 8 wins. But once you get to like 19 wins, you're only going to be facing pros or top ladder.
What?
Like people that are in the top 2 to 3,000.
Non mais bro, d'où il dit qu'il pourrait lui? Non mais c'est un fou. Non mais c'est un fou, non mais le chat là. Je regarde plus. Non, c'est pas elle qui a gagné. C'est pas elle qui a gagné. Attends. Arrêtez. Faut arrêter de mentir.
Game number 2 on the line, playing against Pavesi. Wait, my mic's on over there. Okay. We're currently 1-0. Wait, why is he crying? Did he recognize me? Sorry, bro. This must be done. We're currently 1-0 right now. I'm gonna split guards.
Ok.
I wonder what he has. If I arrows like that hits all 3 minions. Nice.
Oh, c'est nice.
I feel like most people don't know that. Okay. I might be able to activate King if I wait long enough.
Hop là, activation.
I'm down a lot of elixir because I hesitated though, but I think it's worth it. Electro Wizard, Bandit. Oh, he's using Bridge Spam. Hit the Ewis. Oh, do we have help from the King Tower? That's huge.
Oh, c'est beau.
Currently 1-0 in the 20-win challenge. If we win this, we'll be 2-0. He might have a P.E.K.K.A. or even like a Mother Witch, so I just want to be really careful because this guy has Bridge Spam. Snowball is more than enough to take all these out. Take no hits. Okay.
Nice.
I think it's important that I save my guards because he has Bandit. So if anything, I'm just going to cycle arrows. He might Bandit the bridge now or something stupid. Okay, this guy's definitely really nervous. I can tell he's locked. I'm down a little bit of damage, but it's only 70. I might witch the back in a second if he doesn't do anything. Okay. He just wasted his P.E.K.K.A., so I'm going to go Giant Graveyard, right bridge. He has no P.E.K.K.A. So that's tower. Well, now almost tower. I'm going to go early minions. I don't need to put anything else on that P.E.K.K.A. unless he answers it. Okay. I think everything's dead. I'm just going to go even think I need to Evo Snow.
Snowball?
No, I don't.
Non, non, ça
All
tue.
dead. Okay, Giant. He's gonna P.E.K.K.A the Giant right now, so I can
Qu'est-ce
Evo
qu'il
Snow
raconte
it
là
into
sur
the
le coup?
graveyard. Nice. I made sure to drag the snow as far back as I can so it goes into the graveyard and not back into the Giant. Nice! Tower down. Alright, we should be 2-0, boys. We should be. Come on! I'm so locked today, boys. Told y'all I'm so locked.
Attends. Oh, Zion! Attends, il y avait un dunk là. Je viens de voir un dunk avec Zion. Zion plutôt, il a fait un dunk, il était incroyable. Un putback.
2-0, really good start.
Ok, il est en 2-0, 2-0. On va se concentrer sur la vidéo plutôt.
Full passion, chat. Remember, stay locked, stay locked, stay locked. Oh, if I get 20 wins, bro, I'm gonna be the happiest human being on planet Earth. Come on. Piggy's first play. He's either using like Piggy's Archer Queen Earthquake, Piggy's Mighty Miner Lightning, or Recruits. I'm hoping he's using Recruits. He might be using a weird. I'm gonna arrows her just to get her off the board. Alright, this guy's using a brain rot deck. I have to be very careful about everything I do. Because if I just do one slip up, it's completely and totally over, and I'm gonna lose instantly.
Ok.
Let's go guards into that. It's never an ideal play. I always like to surround him, but I don't want to surround him if it means that I have to leak elixir to surround.
Ok, let's go.
Alright, so what do we know? He has Mother Witch, Royal Ghost, and Fisherman. This could be a really weird, like, and psychotic Royal Giant deck. I should have split minions. I'm gonna take a lot of damage on the left because I didn't split minions. Alright, I'm gonna go Witch. Oh, I should have split minions. That was such a blunder. I think this guy has Recruits. I wish I was trolling. It really does just feel like Recruits. See, I want to snowball, but if I snowball, I won't be able to Giant with my Witch. So I'm just going to let him split up his damage and then Giant. Because now his Mother Witch is, like, useless. Nice, okay. I think I should guards the right. He has, like, no elixir. Yo, Fisherman, can you yank the guards? Nice, that's nice. Okay, look at the Giant, look at the Giant, look at the Giant.
Oh, le géant qui est bien. Oh! Je suis en train de mettre les patates.
Dude, I think I'm gonna have to get on my phone in a second here. These players are already better than I anticipated. Okay, that giant skeleton is not gonna get in tower range. I'm gonna go early minions to DPS the Royal Ghost and just let everything go. Alright, that's gonna get one hit. No, he's gonna get 2 hits, I think, because the Cannoneer. Nah, the Cannoneer is literally him.
Ok, nice.
Alright, I'm just gonna eat her. Maybe I go arrows, just to, like, for the cheapest. Because now she's gonna get 1 shot.
Ok.
He doesn't have anything for this. He just has like Fisherman, Giants. He doesn't have Mother Witch. He might go Fish. Yeah, I'm just gonna go like this to make sure we take tower. I forgot about that. I might have just sold the game, guys. Yeah, you never want to push into Evos. You deserve to lose, I think. Just for how like sloppy of a play that was. I might not lose though. Yeah, I think I just
Non, il a bien défendu, Il a bien défendu là. Il a bien défendu.
Because if he goes Fisherman, it's gonna yank the Boulder, I think. Can I predict the Fisherman? Nice. Yeah, let's focus on the Boulder, see? Nice, go Giant, go Giant. I need to go minions to make sure we take out the Fisherman, and that way he can't yank the Giant. Arrows to get rid of the Skarmy? Please, please, please. Yes!
Non.
Yes!
Bon, par contre, on regardera ça plus tard. Là, on est là pour Pokémon. J'ai mis ça, mais on est là pour Pokémon. Pokémon écarlate et violet. Solar Beam. Vas-y, Genji, j'aime bien. C'est le gars Merde.
shiny Pokemon are awesome, but also incredibly rare, often taking hours or even days just to find one of them. So, I decided to do something absolutely insane. I tried to beat a hardcore Pokemon Nuzlocke challenge using only shiny Pokemon. This means that if any of my shiny Pokemon faint at any point, they have to be released and I lose that shiny forever, making this the most grueling, painful challenge I've ever attempted. And it's made even harder by the fact that I've also added a bunch of extra rules on top just to make this even more difficult. So, just how long would this challenge take? What shiny Pokemon would I be able to find? How many would I be forced to release? And could we actually beat all of Pokemon Scarlet under these insane conditions? Well, let's find out. The game begins, and unlike older Pokemon games, the starters in Scarlet and Violet have zero chance of being shiny. So these are off the table, which is a shame because all of them are incredibly strong Pokemon that could have been a huge help in this challenge. Instead though, to get our first shiny Pokemon, we have to hunt in the first area of the game, the Poké Path. None of the Pokemon here are overly strong, but it's not like we have much of a choice anyway, since we're forced to take the first shiny we find,
Commode le
and
Chonk,
can only
ça
catch
passe.
one
Non,
shiny Pokemon per area.
aussi
So, with my enthusiasm for
Flambuzard.
this challenge running
Flambuzard, ça peut être pas
high,
mal
I
aussi.
set up my timer and began shiny hunting. Basically, this just involves running around in circles over and over again in this small area, just praying that I get lucky. Although, since Nimona is still with us, she has to sit by and just watch while the new kid at her school makes the worst first impression possible. Anyway, I was ready for this shiny hunt to take hours, but after about only 15 minutes, this happened. Is it a shiny? I think it is!
Oh, en plus c'est un bon. C'est bien, c'est bien, c'est
We
bien.
go on. That only took 16 minutes? That was so fast. Alright, Fletchling. Come here.
Fletchling, c'est pas mal, hein.
We got it. That's huge. After only 17 minutes, we already had our starter Pokemon. I named our Fletchling Potato since it's basically built like a little potato with wings. Our new shiny Pokemon is only a weak level 2, so I had to carefully train it up against the weak bugs of the Poké Path, eventually bringing our bird to a much more comfortable level 7. With our first shiny now secured, I want to know, out of the new shinies added in Generation 9, which one do you think is the best? Let me know in the comments below, but just know that the real correct answer to this question is Shiny Claw.
No.
Anyway, now we can finally move on and find the weakened Koraidon down on the beach. So I just feed it our Fuecoco, since it's a pathetic non-shiny that is absolutely worthless to me. Shortly after that, we have our first real fight of the challenge as we have to take on our other rival, Arven. There's not really much we can do here besides just spamming Quick Attack, but this turns out to be enough since Arven only has a level 5 Squabble. So our potato had picked up our first win of the challenge. However, our little bird was about to encounter a problem. See, once we head up the next route and go through these doors, we're gonna have to take on Nimona, who will be carrying 2 Pokemon. Her Sprigatito won't be too much of a threat thanks to Fletchling, but she also has a Pawmi with Thundershock, which will get even deadlier after terastallizing. Our Fletchling stands absolutely no chance against this thing, and if our Fletchling faints, it'll have to be released for good, and we'll lose the challenge since we'll have no Pokemon left. So, what can we do? Well, there is one more encounter we can get before this Nimona fight. This whole area is the Southern Province, Area 1, which is separate to the Poké Path where we got Fletchling. I knew that if I wanted to beat Nimona, I had to catch another Pokemon. So, once again, it was time to go shiny hunting. I purposely tried to stay away from any water because finding a shiny water type would basically be a death sentence at the hands of Nimona's Pawmi. Unlike the Poké Path though, there are a lot of potential encounters here. So, I just kept running in circles, hoping to be blessed by the graces of RNGesus. And while this wasn't quite as fast as our first shiny hunt, it wouldn't take that much longer this time around. Except what we found was this. No, come on man. Not a water type. Oh no. I mean, we have to take it. We don't have a choice. Out of all the cool Pokemon we could have got here, of course I end up finding a shiny water type. Regardless, I have no choice but to accept my fate and catch the shiny Psyduck, who I call Wyduck, because why did I have to find this thing? So these two are the only Pokemon I have available to fight Nemona, and I just can't see a way for us to get through this battle unscathed. Still, after quickly training up our duo to a more respectable level, with no other option, we charged forward towards the Misagoza gate where Nemona was waiting and looking for blood. She starts the fight with her Sprigatito, but this is pretty easy for us to deal with, as two super effective pecks from our Fletchling quickly pick up the first KO. However, then the dreaded demon emerges, Pawmi. It immediately terastallizes to boost up its electric attacks even more, before Fletchling hits a priority quick attack that deals just under half. After which, Nemona fires back with a super effective Thunder Shock and... hangs on! Hang in there, Potato!
What?
Crit!
Non mais...
Crit! No!
il est mort.
Fletchling just wasn't able to finish off Pawmi in time, and I could only sit by and watch as this happened. Oh, Potato! We had already suffered our first death of the challenge, but thanks to Fletchling putting in the groundwork, our blue Psyduck is able to finish the fight with one last Water Pulse, giving us the win, but at a huge cost. Chin up, Keegan. Now that we're in Misagoza, what's the first thing you want to see? Probably the graveyard, so I can bury my pet bird that you just killed, Nemona. Or we could go eat some baked potatoes. Potatoes? How dare you say his name? Ultimately, as much as it pains me, I have no choice but to release our little potato and permanently end its existence. We've lost a good Pokemon here, but its sacrifice is ultimately what kept our challenge alive. Can I get some Fs in the chat as a sign of respect for our fallen little Fletchling? You will be missed, Potato. This all means that now our team only consists of Wyduck the Psyduck, and since we're stuck in the city, we can't add any extra Pokemon to our roster yet. Thankfully, this isn't really a problem though, since we only have to do 2 quick battles against Team Stargrunts, both of which Psyduck can handle comfortably on its own. Here in Misagoza, besides being given our 3 main story quests for this game, we're also given 2 important upgrades for the sake of this challenge. The first is the Terra Orb, allowing us to terastallize our Pokemon for a power boost. And the second upgrade is now we can ride on Koraidon. While this doesn't make us any stronger in battle, it should help with speeding up my shiny hunting. The success of this Nuzlocke is largely reliant on us getting lucky enough to recruit some strong Pokemon. But if you're trying to recruit for your business, you can make things a lot easier with the help of our sponsor, Odoo. Odoo is all about making it easier to run your business, with a range of apps that help you with basically everything. One of these is the Odoo Recruitment app, designed to help simplify the process of finding the right staff. With this tool, you can easily post new job listings and track the hiring process for each active listing with an easy-to-understand visual pipeline. Once you receive an application, it can be viewed through the central dashboard, where you can then decide whether to move on to the next stage of the hiring process. On top of that, the recruit how Odoo can help you save time and reduce stress while growing your business. So, with the game's introduction now behind us, since Psyduck is all alone and vulnerable right now, my top priority is finding some new, shiny teammates. And thankfully, due to the open world nature of Pokemon Scarlet, the map really opens up and we can hunt for a few extra Pokemon right away. Which is great, because I desperately need some more Pokemon.
En vrai, s'il va dans l'endroit où il y a les randonnées et tout, il peut avoir pas mal de randonnées.
This one sucks. There are 3 common encounters here, and they're all pretty decent. However, the most common Pokemon here is Tandemaus, a pair of mice whose shiny form is so hard to see, since it's only a really subtle change in the color of their clothing. You can barely tell the difference between these two. But I mean, come on, our last 2 hunts were both pretty fast, so I'm sure this one won't be too bad, right? Right? Wrong. Because it didn't take long for this to become my longest hunt yet. Not only is it tedious to run laps around in this tiny area repeatedly, it's made even worse by the fact that I have to individually inspect every single Tandemaus up close to tell whether it's a shiny or not. And so, the first hour quickly rolled by, as did the second hour, and the third hour after that. It was at this point that my enthusiasm for this challenge was rapidly starting to fade, and I was beginning to think that starting this Nuzlocke was a massive mistake. Part of me wanted to go and hunt somewhere easier, but I was just too stubborn to leave this area after spending the last 3 hours here. So instead, I kept on circling around, kept on checking every single mouse, and kept on suffering for several more hours. And safe to say, as time went on, I was starting to lose my mind. Wait, are you guys shiny? Oh, wait, is that shiny? Are you shiny?
Non, lui pas shiny.
Wait, is this a shiny?
Non.
No. Damn it, this sucks. Where are the shinies? I've now been at this for over 4 hours, and I am so sick of looking at the pants of Tandemouse. My eyes hurt and I have a headache. It's at the point where I'm starting to second guess myself and think that have I missed some? Like, I must have seen one and missed it, and that's annoying me so much.
Non, ça,
Is you a shiny? No. Almost 6 hours in? How is this taking so long? Please, give me the shiny. This sucks. We are now 8 hours deep into this hunt, and I just want this to end. I just want to leave this area. Please, let me out of here. However, after nearly 10 hours of hunting, this happened.
C'en est un.
Is that the shiny? Are those pants yellow?
Aïe, aïe,
Yes!
aïe.
Finally!
En plus, c'est pas mal ton
Oh
de
my
masse.
god! Nearly 10 hours? Are you kidding me? That is such a
Avec
so
population de
tiny
Borg,
too.
là.
Oh my god, okay. Let's not celebrate yet, we gotta catch this thing. Well, make it easy. One ball done.
Si tu le mets le dé, oui, il rate presque jamais.
Oh dear. I
Non,
fear
c'est
I
pas
have
le
to
dé.
use our
Je sais plus
great
c'est
ball
quoi.
for this.
C'est le dé?
For a momentous occasion like this. 2, 3, boom!
Let's go.
We finally had our new shiny, who I decided to name Louis Vuitton, since these shiny mice really are dripped out in those golden designer clothes. Oh, and after catching Tandemouse, I also realized that our shiny Psyduck came with a mark, which I guess makes it even rarer. So now we were back to 2 Pokemon on the team, but for now, we still had 2 more shiny encounters left, and thankfully, these would not end up taking as long as that last one. Oh, shiny bird!
Oh, ça c'est bien, ça, Corviknight.
Yes, we
Oh,
are
le
so
Corviknight, il va
back.
être bon. Oh, il va être très
Rudy,
très
make
bien.
this easy.
Un petit passier dans le jeu là, c'est extrêmement fort.
Yes. After that last hunt, I really needed a quick shiny. I forgot to put the timer on the screen while recording, but that one only took about 20 minutes. I decided to name Rookity Potato 2 in honor of our first potato-shaped bird that we already lost. Having a flying type again is awesome, and if Rookity can survive long enough to become a Corviknight, we'll have a defensive tank on our roster.
Ouais,
Anyway,
c'est
this
incroyable.
all leaves one more shiny encounter
Mais
over
dis-moi, il
on
était pas
the
shiny?
other side of
Voilà.
Mesa Goza. This area is massive. There's a lot of different Pokemon that could be found here, so I had to decide where exactly I wanted to hunt. But ultimately, I chose to hunt up near the ruins
Oh,
since
ouais.
there are some really cool options here. And while this wasn't quite as fast as my Rookity, after about 2 hours of circling around the ruins, this happened. Oh, shiny Bronzor!
Oh, ah, mais du coup, il a 2
I hit that
espaces.
by accident. Bronzor's kind of nice.
Mais c'est pas mal. Bronzong, c'est toujours fort.
Yes, huge! With our Bronzor, who I named Green Goblin, secured, now we had 4 shinies on our team, and it was time to take on the first gym. Before that though, I made sure to train up our team a bit, while also upgrading their moves with some of the TMs I'd found. After which, it was finally time to
mais
start
si tu penses que c'est
progressing
vrai,
in this
premier.
game
Je me suis
as
dit,
we
bah, il va
headed
aller
for
au
the
type
first
en direct.
gym in the
Non,
town
c'est
of
l'insecte.
Cortondo. Oh my god, Keegan, you're finally here! Where were you? It's taken you 3 days just to make it to the first town. Look, I don't want to talk about it, okay? In this challenge, when taking on gym leaders, on top of not being allowed to overlevel, we can only bring an equal number of Pokemon to make it a fair fight. And since Katie carries 3 bug types, I decided to leave our blue shiny Psyduck on the bench. However, my team choice didn't really matter too much in the end, since all we really needed for this fight was Rookidee. As a flying type, Rookidee has a great matchup here, which gets even better after it boosts up its attack with Hone Claws. After that, a boosted, super effective Peck is all we need to rip through Katie's Nimble, as well as the Tarantula that follows after that. This leaves Katie down to only her Teddy. After both of us terrestrialize our Pokemon, one last Peck is all we need to wrap up the fight and earn a very comfortable first badge. After this, our next goal is taking on the first Titan Pokemon, Claw. Since Clawf is a rock type, I just decided to send in Psyduck and have it spam Water Pulse. Although, this didn't quite go as smooth as I expected. Oh my god, Psyduck! Oh my god, that was close. Despite that, Psyduck just hung on long enough to Water Pulse its way through Clawf's first phase. And while the second phase was also pretty treacherous, Psyduck once again dodged a critical hit, allowing us to hit Clawf with the final Water Pulse we need to secure our first
Noise. Mais est-ce que là, il faudrait un type feu, parce que dans ton équipe, il a pas de type. Mais si, il a les types vol contre les types plantes. Mais contre les types acier, là, il est un peu dans le vide.
Our water type Psyduck is criminally allergic to touching grass, so she's left on the bench once again. However, 2 of our Pokemon do have a good matchup against grass, which is a really big help here. For example, our Rookidee can deal with Brassius's first 2 Pokemon pretty quickly and risk-free with a barrage of super effective plucks. However, Brassius's Ace Sudowoodo that follows is a much bigger threat. It hits hard for this early in the game, and it has some very threatening rock-type coverage in its moveset. I do not want to lose Potato the Second at the hands of a rock throw, so switch into Tandemouse. My goal here is to use Baby Doll Eyes, a priority move that lowers Sudowoodo's attack. Although I did get greedy and also went for a Super Fang, which is very risky, but thankfully we weren't punished as Brassius didn't get a critical hit. After one more switch into Bronzor, now Brassius can barely leave a scratch on our floating green Frisbee. And from here, a few Terra boosted Gyro Balls are all we need to clean up Brassius's ace, giving us the win along with our second gym badge. After the fight, our Rookidee gets a nice power boost.
Si vraiment s'il a un Corviknight, il est trop bien.
Our shiny Potato isn't quite as gold as it used to be. They grow up so fast. So, we've still only lost 1 shiny Pokemon so far. However, those last few fights had several close calls. And if I hadn't been lucky, we could have easily lost another 2 Pokemon. And since the upcoming fights are going to be even harder, I can't afford to keep taking risks like that. So, I knew that if we wanted to survive, I'd need to hunt down some extra shiny Pokemon. And looking at our map, with the new level cap, now we can access a few extra areas. Meaning, once again, it was time to shiny. First, I headed for the 4th area of the Southern Province, since there are some really good Pokemon here.
Un Levenard. Le Levenard serait incroyable.
And thankfully, this time we wouldn't be kept waiting for long, as after only 12 minutes, this happened. Wait, is that a shiny? Shiny Mastiff? Yes! That was so fast!
Intimidation en plus, c'est pas mal.
Mastiff wasn't one of the Pokemon I was targeting, but by no means is it a bad find. Especially since this one has the Intimidate ability, which is incredibly useful for our Nuzlocke. Ultimately, I'm not going to complain about any shiny we find in under 15 minutes. At this point, I started naming some of our Pokemon after channel members, since they've been a massive help in supporting me. So, welcome aboard Joker the Mastiff. And since we found that one so fast, I immediately began hunting for our next one over in Area 5 of the Southern Province. This area has a lot of variety in the types of Pokemon you can find here, so I had to carefully decide where exactly I wanted to hunt. And while there are a lot of good options, in the end, I decided to hunt down in this little swampy area, partly because I love seeing the little Wooper having their mud bath. I mean, come on, these guys are so adorable. Please, I need one! But also because I really want a ground type to help deal with some of the difficult fights in the Pokemon Scarlet mid-game. Unsurprisingly, I wasn't lucky enough to find another shiny in just 15 minutes. But after about 2 hours of running around in the mud, this happened. Oh, are you kidding me?
Non.
Are you serious?
Non.
Another one? Come on, man.
Non. 2. 2 Psyduck. Ah, ça c'est le seum. C'est le seum.
Although, under the rules of a Nuzlocke, you can't have two of the same Pokemon. So, this bonus blue duck was quickly sent to the Shadow Realm, allowing us to continue hunting. I was pretty sick of running around in circles in the swamp by this point. However, it wouldn't take too much longer for me to find my ticket to freedom. Oh, Green Choodle! We got
Oh,
it!
c'est...
Huge!
Ah, mais c'est encore un type haut.
That is so shiny. It's like
Au
radioactive.
roche. Il est aux roches.
Almost 3 hours. With that, we quickly caught our newest shiny, and this radioactive turtle is probably the easiest shiny to spot of all time. It's not exactly the Pokemon I was hoping for, but our new turtle is still going to be very useful going forward. So, now we had 2 new shinies, meaning that we only have 1 encounter left for now. This time, over in Area 1 of the Western Province. And while my luck had been pretty good recently, with 3 shinies in about 3 hours, this is where my luck ran out, because this shiny was not going to take 15 minutes, nor was it going to take 1 hour, or even 2. Yet again, my luck had turned abysmal, as I would then spend the next several hours desperately hunting for a shiny. In particular, I was really hoping for a shiny.
Ah mais en fait il faut un truc pour les électriques, feu et poison comme il avait dit, il a un type sol.
However, this game just refused to give me a break, as the hours kept on rolling by with no shinies to show for it. And by the 7-hour mark, I was starting to lose my mind. Is that green or blue? Are you shiny? You are!
Et bah,
Shiny Numble! That was so hard to tell.
il est sol, non?
After a
Il est feu
grueling
sol.
hunt, we finally had another shiny.
Les roches.
And while it's
Ouais,
definitely
les sols, les
not
sols.
what I was
Attends.
hoping for, I was honestly just glad to be done with shiny hunting for now.
Ouais.
Seriously, by this point, my 2
Les sols.
brain cells were just about ready to
Feu,
throw in
sol.
the towel. But now we can use our new
Feu, sol.
team
Ok,
members
c'est
to
bon.
finally
Pas
start
bête.
progressing through the game. First, I quickly trained up our team, which, importantly, allows our Choodle to evolve into the much more powerful Dreadnought. It's not quite as radioactive looking anymore, but it is a lot stronger. Combine this with using some of the TMs I found while mindlessly running around, and I was feeling very confident as we marched towards the second Titan, Bombardier. And turns out that confidence was absolutely warranted, as our new Dreadnought is an absolute beast here. A single super effective Rock Tomb is almost enough to wipe out the first phase in just 1 hit. After cleaning that up, the second phase is also just as smooth, with Rock Tomb shooting the Titan out of the sky before Arven cleans up the scraps, yielding us a very comfortable win. While that fight was very straightforward, this next one is much more concerning, as our next opponent is the first boss of Team Star, the Dark-type specialist, Giacomo. The biggest threats of these Team Star fights are their Starmobiles, which are powerful and have an enormous HP bar. Beating the Starmobiles normally can be hard enough, but trying to beat them without losing any Pokemon in the process is
Dark, il a
insanely
pas de type
tough.
combat.
Regardless,
Il a
I
rien.
had no choice but to try, and marched forward towards the first Team Starbase, determined to keep
Mais il a rien.
all of my beloved shinies alive. The
quoi
battle
d'autre?
begins,
Il a
and
fait,
since
non?
Giacomo
Fait,
leads
c'est
with
fort.
his Dark Steel-type Pawniard, I lead with Numel. Our new Camel makes a big debut, as it can safely tank 2 attacks from Pawniard, allowing us to fire back with the 2 super effective Incinerates we need to claim the first KO. Now Atticus was left with only his Starmobile, and this is where the problems begin. Mostly because it was at this point that I realized I forgot to bring Dreadnought, which is undeniably my best Pokemon at this point. With Numel being pretty beaten up, I switch out into Mischief, firstly to land an Intimidate, lowering the Starmobile's attack. After this, we also hit Giacomo with Charm, lowering his attack even more. As a result, the Starmobile was
Ouais, il fait
basically
plus mal, là.
left with only its special attacks. However, there's one thing that my plan fails to account for. This Starmobile is really, really strong. We're so outmatched here that our Pokemon just straight up struggle to deal damage. For example, Maschiff's Lick does literally 1 HP worth of damage. So, to try and give us some chance of survival, I switch it to Psyduck next and hit Giacomo with Screech to harshly lower the Starmobile's defense. Psyduck is then able to land a super effective low kick for reasonable damage, but our Psyduck won't be able to survive another hit, so I have to switch out again. None of our remaining Pokemon will be able to solo the Starmobile, so I continue pivoting our team around, desperately trying to land chip damage where I can with Tandemaus and Corvisquire. Thankfully, a few plucks from Potato the Second brings the Starmobile to low health, but we're not safe yet. Our Corvisquire can't tank another hit, and I desperately don't want to lose another bird. So I have no choice but to start taking risks as I send out our new Numel once again. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Please use Snarl. Please use Snarl. Please use Snarl. Hang on. Yes! Okay, now use Swift. Please use Swift. Thank you. With Bronzor now safely on the field, we can Terra into a Steel type to lose our Dark type weakness. This means that Bronzor can safely land a hit before firing off one last Gyro Ball and... Boom!
Let's go!
That was so close.
Putain, il a vraiment switch.
With that, we had conquered our first team star boss. While our team was left battered and bruised, we thankfully didn't suffer any casualties, allowing us to safely move on to our next objective. Some of these fights have been incredibly close, but none are quite as hard as the next gym leader, Iono. Iono's team of electric types are incredibly strong. Her team is basically the reason why I was so desperate to find either a shiny Wooper or a Volt Absorb Pawmon. So, as we made our way towards Levincia, I was definitely starting to worry. While Numel is a ground type, it's still pretty weak in its current form. On top of that, 2 of my best Pokemon are both weak to electric, which doesn't leave me with a lot of great options for dealing with Iono. Soon after, we began to approach Levincia, and realistically, I knew that it would be a bloodbath if I tried to take on Iono right away. So, instead... it's back to shiny hunting. We've got 2 new encounters that we can grab now, in the Eastern Province Areas 1 and 2. As much as I was starting to get tired of running around in circles, I've already invested so much time into this challenge that I don't want to lose now. In total, it took around 1.5 hours to find the first of our new shinies, Litleo. Once again, it's not what I was hoping for, since Litleo doesn't evolve for a while, but it's a pretty decent shiny, and legally, this Pokemon is far too cute to possibly hate. So, welcome aboard Chicken Sup the Litleo. Putting that aside, this next encounter is one that I am really looking forward to, because there's this little area next to Levincia that has a very common spawn chance for Curlia. Obviously, it would be an amazing pull if we could add a shiny Gallade to our roster. So, I once again began running around in circles, praying to RNGesus that my luck would finally turn and I'd get the encounter that I want. Although, this was another frustratingly long hunt, as I would then proceed to run around for the next 5 hours, desperately hoping for a shiny Curlia. And then, as we approached the 5-hour mark... Oh, shiny Curlia! Yes! Finally! Oh, that is such a good find. Are you kidding me? Okay, let's not mess this up.
Donc, du coup, il aura Gardevoir. Mais Gardevoir, c'est quand même extraordinaire.
What?
Oh non. Oh non.
Are you kidding me?
Oh non.
It can still teleport away? What just happened? I was genuinely in a state of shock and despair, having just watched my hopes of a shiny Gallade be ripped away right in front of my very eyes. The move teleport didn't even cross my mind. For some reason, I didn't even think that it worked in wild battles anymore. Sadly, I could now only longingly gaze at the Dawnstone in my inventory and wonder what could have been. A moment that will painfully live on in the Keegan J lore as the teleport incident of 2025. Can I get some F's in the chat for this horrifying tragedy? As a result, now we have to take on Iono using only these Pokemon here. And honestly, we don't have a lot of great options. Before that though, we do have a brief encounter with Nemona. And while she may have murdered the original Potato Bird in our last battle, this time we're far more prepared. Her team doesn't have too many threats, and it's nothing we can't handle. So, with a very quick beatdown, we'd avenge the death of our beloved Potato 1 and can swiftly move on to the much more challenging gym battle. To help prepare for this fight as much as possible, I spared no expense in searching for valuable items, purchasing some extra utility from the shop, and teaching our team some new moves. But after that, with my 4 chosen Pokémon now assembled, we charge towards the gym, ready to take on the stream.
C'est compliqué en fait. Tu dois garder le même nombre de Pokémon et pas trop être over level.
But not for me. Our plan starts with Mischief, who intimidates the opposing Wattrel before lowering its attack even more by using Charm. Since Iono's bird only knows physical attacks, this completely nerfs all of its attack power. So, with Wattrel now as harmless and adorable as possible, we're clear to switch into our true hero of this fight, Numel. As a ground fire type, Numel is very vulnerable to Iono's belly bolt that she has in the back, since it knows Water Gun. So, to try and get around this, first, we have Numel use Amnesia, sharply boosting our special defense. But to take this even further, we then also have Numel use Sunny Day, changing the weather and weakening the power of water moves even more. Our leftovers recovery helps to keep us relatively healthy before a sun-boosted lava plume obliterates Wattrel out of the sky, giving us the early lead. Of course, Bellibolt then comes in, ready to start shooting its water guns all over the place. However, our plan works perfectly, as Numel takes the water gun like an absolute king before firing back with Mud Shot for pretty decent damage. One more of these brings Bellibolt to the brink of death, before one final lava plume buries the very
de Mudshot dès le début. Parce qu'avec le Sun, je pense que ça fait mal quand même.
Followed by a lava plume are all we need to finish Luxio, leaving Iono with only her ace, Miss Magius. While this is an incredibly powerful Pokemon, we have a strategy to make it completely harmless. Since Miss Magius only knows 2 damaging moves, a Ghost attack and an Electric attack, we can just repeatedly switch between our Ground-type Numel and our Normal-type Tandemaus, allowing us to completely avoid taking any damage. It takes a while, but eventually, Miss Magius is all out of PP, freeing us to weaken it before it ultimately ends up falling to its own recoil.
Ah ouais, il a réfléchi.
And overcome our hardest fight yet, without losing any Pokemon in the process. While I wasn't originally very excited about finding Shiny Numel, it turned out to be a lifesaver in this Nuzlocke. Despite the lingering sadness of the teleport incident, our fortunes were now about to change, as, after that fight, Tandemaus reached level 25, evolving into the lovable family of 4, Mousehold. But putting that nice power boost aside, this is where the game finally gives us a break, as our next 2 big fights are both pretty straightforward. Against Mallory Team Star, her fire types stand absolutely no chance against our water rock type, Dreadnought. After changing the weather with Rain Dance, our turtle quickly rips through both of her Pokemon with Razor Shell, giving us a much easier win than our last Team Star boss. This fight is then followed by the Titan Orthworm, whose first phase just ends instantly, as Numel melts it down into a metallic goo thanks to a super effective lava plume. The second phase is also clean, with Dreadnought once again taking care of business, sending that worm to the Shadow Realm for good. With those 2 quick wins behind us, next we turn our attention towards the 4th gym leader, Kofu. Packing 3 fully evolved water types, Kofu's team is deceptively threatening. Since we don't have any grass or electric types at our disposal, the closest thing I have to an anti-water measure is our family of Mousehold, who can do their best to spray down some bullet seeds. Other than that, our options for dealing with Kofu are very limited. Thankfully though, with our new level cap, a few more areas of the map have opened up, meaning we can now hunt for some extra Pokemon. So, I picked a new spot to start hunting in Area 2 of the Western Province and... Oh god, no! Not again! I'm not ready to have my heart broken again. Despite my teleport-related PTSD, I still wanted to shiny hunt here, and very quickly, something incredible happened. Oh, what? Are you serious? Only 10 minutes? That was so quick. RNGesus had finally blessed me, delivering us a shiny Curlier in under 10 minutes.
En plus, c'est un mâle.
And this time, I wasn't gonna make the same mistake again. As now, my Corvus Squire knows the move Taunt, preventing Curlier from using any status moves. I knew it! I knew it! Yeah, nice teleport. Nice teleport, Curlier. Despite that, this still isn't easy, as Curlier hits very hard, and our Taunt is about to wear off. So, once again, I needed the luck to go my way. I have to catch this before the Taunt wears off. Okay, I have to Taunt it again. Don't hit yourself. Don't hit yourself. Thank you. Alright, no critical hit. No critical hit. Oh my god!
Oh mon dieu, mais il a trop de shots.
Oh my god, these are too tense. Okay, I can bring in Louis Vuitton. Okay, it's not taunted, but I can encore force it to use Draining Kiss again. This is going to recover it too much. Okay, you know what? Let's just catch it. Let's just catch it. Come on. Stay in the ball, please.
2, 3, 4.
Yes!
Non, 4, c'est un 2, 3.
Oh my god.
1, 2, 3,
I can't believe that. With that, our redemption was secured, as we finally had our shiny Curlier, named after Prince Alex. And it was about to get even stronger, as we can immediately use our Dawnstone, evolving it into one of the coolest Pokemon ever,
Oh là 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 là.
This
Attends, on est
is
d'accord
truly a
que...
beautiful moment on the King and J channel. And look how sick this shiny is. I mean, come on, man.
Il n'y a que le mâle qui peut évoluer.
Look at this guy. This might be the greatest shiny of all time. Since Gallade is a stone evolution, it also gets access to a bunch of its powerful moves right away, making this guy a godsend for our
Galamite.
And as if that wasn't
pas qu'il
already
existait,
enough,
Galam.
at the current level cap, our shiny Mastiff also gets to evolve into a shiny Mastiff, the boss dog, which also gets a massive power boost. Thanks to these new additions, in no time at all, our team had gotten much more powerful. And with these new upgrades, we were about to go on a tear, as our next few fights would be a complete walk in the park. Our first victim is the Water-type gym leader, Kofu. Thanks to Gallade already having access to Leaf Blade, the start of this fight is pretty simple, as spamming Leaf Blade quickly picks up the first 2 KOs. Then, against Kofu's ace Crabominable, I switch out into Mastiff, who nerfs Crabominable's attack with Intimidate and Charm. From here, a few Thunderfangs from our newly evolved boss dog are all we need to secure the win, giving us a clean badge number 4. Nurse Joy, are you feeling okay? Yeah, never better. Why? Is there something on my face? With Kofu defeated, our level cap rises to 36, which is a very significant number for our team. As, at level 33, we have 3 Pokemon that can finally evolve. So, the upgrades to our team just keep on coming, as Numel evolves into Camerupt, which is such an awesome looking shiny. This is then followed by Psyduck, who has somehow survived long enough to become Golduck, and finally, our Bronzor evolves into the shiny Bell, Bronzong. With these 3 additions, our team was looking much more deadly. And look, I'm not gonna lie to you, this next fight against Atticus, it wasn't even close. With the right move setup, our Steel-type Bronzong can't even be touched by Atticus's Skuntank. This makes it completely free for Bronzong to boost up its stats with Calm Mind. And once Trick Room is up, we're clear to finish off Skuntank with Gyro Ball before ripping through the rest of Atticus's poison types with stored power. Honestly, our Bell without a brain just embarrassed this man and ended his whole career in about 2 minutes. So clearly, our new team was looking very strong. And that dominance was only set to continue as we approached the town of Medali to take on the next gym leader. With Larry and his team of normal types taking us on next, the plan here was pretty obvious, with our shiny new fighting type Gallade taking the lead in our team of 3. And as you might expect, with Gallade, this fight becomes an absolute bloodbath. Thanks to our held Chestoberry, we can ignore Larry's lead Kamala using Yawn and instead boost up our attack with Swords Dance. Then, at +4, after our Chestoberry wakes us up, a Drain Punch quickly punts that koala into its grave, and the Dunsparce that follows also suffers the same fate soon after that. This leaves Larry with his ace, Staraptor, who is a threat since it knows Aerial Ace, which would hit Gallade hard. However, by terastallizing into a pure psychic type, we remove our weakness to flying, allowing Gallade to comfortably tank a hit before one last super effective sacred
c'est vrai qu'il
sword
perd son
is all
type
we
vol.
need to crush
Du
that
coup,
bird.
bam.
With a very dominant solo sweep, Gallade had obtained gym badge number 5. Ever since catching this shiny blue beast, our team has basically been untouchable, and I started to think maybe we could make a clean run through the rest of this game without suffering any more casualties. However, I was about to get hit with a very heavy dose of reality.
Non, le conseil des 4 il va être très très dur.
Because after our gym fight, we get ambushed by Nemona. We're then forced into a battle while I still only have 3 Pokemon in my party. Despite being outnumbered, this fight actually starts off really well, because on turn 1, Lycanroc causes Gallade to flinch, which, thanks to our steadfast ability, actually gives us a very useful speed boost. Then, on the next turn, we're free to boost up our attack with Swords Dance before a super effective Drain Punch claims our first KO. Then, against the Goomy that follows, we're clear to raise our attack even more before quickly clearing through Goomy, as well as the Plumber that comes in after that. This leaves Demona with only her ace, Meowscarada. And while Meowscarada is incredibly dangerous, thanks to our boosted attack and speed, Gallade was all clear to finish the fight. No! How are you faster?
What?
Oh
J'ai
my
jamais vu ce
God.
move. Flower trick.
What just happened? +1 Gallade is still slower? Huh? In an act of vengeance, Camerupt immediately ends the fight with a Terrafire Lava Plume, but I was just shell-shocked. This is so devastating. Even with a boosted speed stat, our Gallade was
le pauvre
still
Galam.
somehow slower than
Le pauvre
Meowscarada,
Galam.
and as a result, we lost our best Pokemon. Our momentum had been completely crushed, as our beloved ace, Prince Alex the Gallade, had been cut down in his prime. And so, we had no choice but to permanently release him. I can't believe I just lost my best Pokemon.
Oh, le seum.
Gallade! Why were you so slow? As much as this pains me, now we have to say goodbye to our best Pokemon, Gallade. Rest easy, Gallade. It was fun while it lasted. After burying Gallade alongside our other fallen hero, as dejected as I was, we had to keep pressing on and moving forward. Thankfully, on a positive note, with the updated level cap, we now get access to 2 more evolutions. Firstly, in the form of Pyroar, which is then followed by our shiny new Corviknight. This guy is a massive addition to the team.
Corviknight,
It's
c'est
not
le
quite as
monstre.
shiny and golden as it used to be, but the new type combination of Steel Flying gives Corviknight some amazing defensive coverage. And despite having just lost our best Pokemon, our team was now in a really good position to take on the next few fights of the game. The first of these is a battle with the Ghost-type gym leader, Rhyme. This fight can be so treacherous for a Nuzlocke, since it's a double battle, which massively increases the risk of losing a Pokemon. So, I needed to make sure I had a solid plan before going into this fight. This basically involved going on a short shopping spree before equipping some black glasses onto my pet dog and turtle. While this was a fight that I was really worried about, in reality, with these 2 at the helm, this gym battle was completely free. After terastallizing our Mavistiff on turn 1, the crowd cheers, which gives both of our Pokemon an instant Omni boost. After that, a string of boosted, super effective crunches from our deadly duo just ripped through all of Rhyme's Pokemon, ending the fight in surprisingly dominant fashion. After that win, we finally have access to buy Nature Mints in the store, which gives me a lot more flexibility to strengthen up our team. After that brief stopover, the Gallade Revenge Tour continued on, as our team of shinies would dominate the next few fights. Against the 4th Titan, Great Tusk, our Golduck just utterly obliterates the first phase with a single Hydro Pump. The second phase is equally as straightforward, with Corviknight making its debut, finishing off Great Tusk with a super effective Drill Peck. Once again, our Nuzlocke had started going well, but the same cannot be said for Arven. My Mavistiff is really sick, Keegan. I don't know what to do. Yeah, cool. Great story, Arven. Anyway, my Mavistiff is incredibly healthy. And it's a shiny too. Isn't he just the best dog in the entire world? I hate you so much. Putting Arvin and his selfish behavior to the side, now our attention turns
Ouh,
towards
leur
taking
canin.
on the final two gyms. The first of
Ah,
these
mais il a
takes
déjà
us
gagné.
on a pretty long journey across Paldea before arriving in the town of Alphanada, a place
Oh.
that devastatingly sparks my PTSD, as Colia are literally walking the streets here. Everything reminds me of him. Thankfully though, we're safe from suffering any more
Il a pas
casualties
essayé
for
de capturer.
now, as this
Non,
gym
il a
fight
déjà
against
capturé tout
Tulip
ce qu'il
is
pouvait.
very straightforward. Since our Dark-type dog Mabistiff completely hard counters Tulip's team, this battle was just a slaughter, as Mabistiff dog-walked Tulip's team for a comfortable 7th badge. This dominance by our shinies then continued, as the final gym fight against Grusha was
Coming
a
out.
pretty similar result. By teaching our Dreadnought the move Rock Polish, we can boost up our speed to make sure we're faster. With a held wide lens to make sure its Rock Tombs connect, a single shot is all we need to take out the lead Frostmoth. Then, against Beartick, we can Terra our turtle into a pure water type, effectively removing our weakness to Beartick's Earthquake. And since Dreadnaught's ability completely removes the chance of a critical hit, we can then safely fire off Rock Tombs, eventually wearing through Beartick, as well as the Titan that follows.
Ah ouais.
This all leaves Grusha with only his Ice-type Altaria. But by switching out Dreadnought and bringing in our bulky Bronzong, our win here is basically guaranteed. Although Grusha did hit some insane luck, both freezing Bronzong and leaving it confused. However, once those statuses wear off, a few Gyro Balls are all we need to claim the final KO, as well as our final gym badge. But as clean as those last few gym fights had been, nothing quite compares to the sheer level of dominance that we were about to display against the 4th team star boss, Ortega. Since this guy exclusively uses physical attacking fairies, this means that our tanky Bronzong is just a behemoth that completely walls Ortega's entire team. Seriously, this was just embarrassing for Ortega. After a few iron defenses, his fairies can't even lay a scratch on Bronzong, who can just eat hits forever. This basically means that we can stored power our way through Ortega's entire team, sending his Pokemon to the trash where they belong. Clearly, ever since taking on the Ghost Gym, our team had been in cruise control and we had had really strong matchups in all of those recent fights. However, that streak of fortune ends here, because not only are the remaining fights some of the hardest in the game, they also contain some of our worst type matchups that our team doesn't really have an answer for. I knew that if I went into the end game with our current team, it would likely be a bloodbath that results in me losing the challenge. So, clearly, we had to hunt for more shinies. A lot of the map has now opened up since we last hunted, meaning we have a lot of good options for potential new teammates. The first spot I decided to hunt was Casaroya Lake. This area has a lot of good counters to the fighting type, and I was especially desperate to find a shiny Dratini. It's also a nice change of pace. Instead of running around in circles, now we get to swim around in circles, which is a completely different experience. And no, I'm not losing my mind here with all this shiny hunting whatsoever. Regardless, after a very enjoyable 3 hours of swimming around, I finally got some luck. Oh, shiny Marill! It's so green. Oh my god.
Marill
isn't quite what I was hoping for.
Ah, c'est encore un petit peu haut.
Having the huge power ability is pretty devastating, but a fairy type is still nice to have. Regardless, Marill by itself wasn't going to be enough to make it through the end game of Pokemon Scarlet. So I continued shiny hunting, focusing on the area near Alphanada, as well as near the base of the big icy mountain. Both of these hunts took around 4 hours combined, and allowed me to find a shiny Drifloon, as well as a shiny
Hariyama.
So, with 3 new shinies, named after 3 of our awesome channel members, we move on to our final hunt for now, in Area 1 of the Northern Province. I still desperately want a shiny dragon, and this is one of the few remaining spots in the game where that's possible, as in this lake you can find Dratini, while Axu can also spawn on the grass around the outside. By this point, my brain was just completely fried from all this shiny hunting. Running around in circles like this for hours and hours is just so mind-numbing. But as time continued rolling by, I knew that we were just one good shiny away from massively increasing our odds of beating this challenge.
Il faut juste un dernier bon type dans son équipe, sinon il va être un peu, bloqué.
Until this happened. Wait, pink noodle? Is it a pink noodle?
Yes! Oh non, 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 non.
Finally!
Ah,
Okay, let's
Shiny Dracolos, ça peut être très fort.
Stay in the ball. Make this simple.
Nice.
Yes! Finally!
Nice,
Look
nice,
at that
nice,
pink
nice.
noodle. It's so beautiful. We finally found a shiny dragon, and this small pink noodle was about to give our team a massive boost, because at the current level cap, we can fully evolve all of our new shinies, including Dratini, who evolves all the way into Bankai the Dragonite.
Oh,
While it
Lord.
may not be small, pink, or a noodle anymore, Dragonite has a very useful dragon flying typing, along with some pretty impressive stats. Now, thanks to the power of this newly upgraded team, our next few fights became very straightforward. Against the final
C'était
titan,
Dondozo, l'autre.
Dondozo, our new duo of Dragonite and Azumarill countered the giant whale pretty well, making it a very clean sweep with Thunder Punches and Play Roughs, followed by one final Outrage to finish the third
Nice.
phase. Then, against the final Team Star Boss, it turns out that Eri and her fighting types are just completely walled out by my demonic steel bird, Corviknight. Her Toxic
Oui, c'est
lead is pretty helpless against us,
Mais vu
so
qu'il est- ouais.
Potato II can safely boost up its stats with Bulk Up before going on the attack. Despite Eri getting a critical hit at literally the worst time with her Annihilape's close combat, Corviknight still holds strong, sweeping through the rest of Eri's team with Drill Peck. Clearly,
Eh bah.
our new team members had helped turn our roster
Ils
into
sont
a
chauds,
truly
chauds.
dominant force. And that dominance would only continue in our next few fights, as our team seamlessly made its way through battles against Arven, as well as Professor Clavel. In the final showdown with the Team Star boss Penny, we do suffer a very close call,
Ça va être chaud.
as Azumarill gets burned and trapped on the field by Fire Spin. This was absolutely looking like another death, but thankfully, our Golden Fairy escaped the Fire Spin just in time, allowing Dragonite to hit the field before eventually clearing through the rest of Penny's evolutions. With that, our team was still safe, as Arven, Clavel, and Penny had all been packed up and tossed into the dumpster where they undoubtedly belong. But with those battles now behind us, now we have something far more dangerous to deal with, the Pokemon League. This is deadly.
Ça va être
because we have to
compliqué, hein.
take on 5 battles
Pokemon League.
back against the Elite Four and League Champion Gita. And while we can change our team in between battles, if we lose any Pokemon during these fights, we can't replace them with new encounters until after the battle with Gita, meaning that if even one of these fights goes poorly, we could lose all our momentum and possibly the entire challenge altogether. So, with our roster of 12 shinies in tow, I needed to make sure that I had a plan for taking on the Elite.
Ah là, faut un plan, sinon il est vraiment mal.
나 오빠가 만든 거 많이 먹어서 살쪘나 봐.
과연 그것 때문일까?
어?
알룰로스
4. Alright, Keegan. Now, before we can battle, I need to conduct a quick IQ test. Let me just check these readings and... Oh my god! I've never seen anything like this before. What? Am I some kind of genius? I didn't even think this was possible. But your IQ actually came back negative. All that shiny hunting really did destroy my brain. Putting aside my barely functioning brain, our first Elite Four fight is against Rika and her ground types, which isn't a great matchup for my team, and her Donphan with Sturdy is a real threat to most of my Pokemon. However, I have a secret weapon up my sleeve that I've been saving this entire time. Mousehold. This family of 4 hasn't had too much screen time so far, but now it has access to a very busted combination. First, by using the move Tidy Up, we can boost both our attack and speed. Then, after terastallizing, we can fire off a new move, Population Bomb. A move that can hit the opponent up to 10 times. And by having our Mousehold hold a wide lens, we can basically guarantee that we'll land all 10 hits. With this combination, our family of 4 becomes supercharged, as Population Bomb decimates Whiscash on the following turn. Rika's next Pokemon are also helpless before our Mighty Mice, and since Population Bomb is a multi-hit move, even Donphan Sturdy isn't much of a threat anymore. Very quickly, we tore through Rika's final few remaining Pokemon, giving us a very comfortable win in the end. That's the first Elite Four
Mousehold
member down,
broken ou
but
quoi?
unfortunately,
Est-ce que Mousehold
our
c'est
new
broken?
strategy won't be much help in the next fight, as now we have to take on
Ah,
Poppy
faut le
and
type
her
feu là.
Steel types.
Faut son Cameroute.
If only I had a strong ace fighting type on my team. Wouldn't that be incredible? Thankfully, we do have a backup fighting type in Hariyama, as well as some solid fire types in the back. So, the fight begins, and my goal is to set up bulk ups with Hariyama before wiping through Poppy's team with Drain Punch. However, that's not what happened. because even after the defense boost from Bulk Up, play roughs from Copperaja still do so much damage. As a result, I'm only able to get +1 attack and defense before taking out Copperaja with Drain Punch. Things then get worse, as next, Poppy sends in her Corviknight. It outspeeds Hariyama, as Brave Bird does massive super effective damage. I bulk up to +2, just hoping that, with this defense boost, Hariyama can now survive a hit. And so, on the next turn, Corviknight fires off another big Brave Bird and... No! Hariyama just couldn't hang on, giving us our first death in quite some time. Although Poppy still has 4 Pokemon left, meaning that we could end up with even more blood on our hands here. Thankfully, our Mabastiff knows the move Thunderfang, which is enough to take down Corviknight in 2 hits. After that, Poppy makes the awful decision to send in her Bronzong, a Pokemon that is weak to Dark. So, 2 quick crunches are all we need to secure another KO. Thanks to that, now we had clawed our way back into the fight. Our Camerupt is then able to counter Magnezone pretty well, bringing Poppy down to only her ace, Tinkaton, despite having a very close call, as Gigaton Hammer almost bonked our Mabastiff into oblivion. Fortunately, our dog survives before Pyroar hits the field, and with one last super effective overheat, Tinkaton is melted down, giving us a very clutch win in the end. However, it wasn't without loss, as I had somehow managed to lose yet another fighting type. Hariyama barely got to make his debut and was already gone. So, sadly, I had no choice but to release our Hariyama. Could I get some Fs in the chat for our big boy who died in his very first appearance? Despite blood having been spilled, now we had made it through the first 2 fights of the Elite Four. And thankfully, the next 2 battles give us a much better matchup. In the case of Larry and his flying types, his lead Tropius is completely walled by Bronzong. This makes the fight very simple, as Bronzong is free to boost up its stats before quickly sweeping through Larry's entire team, ending his Nuzlocke for the 2nd time in this video. Taking on Hassel's Dragons also becomes very straightforward thanks to our Dragonite. By having it hold a Habanberry, our Dragonite is guaranteed to survive at least 1 attack against Hassel's Noivern. So, we can use this turn to use Dragon Dance, boosting up both our attack and speed. From here, this fight is a slaughter. Our Terra Dragonite just goes wild with super effective Dragon Claws and outrages, decimating Hassel's team as our shiny Dragonite proves itself to be the strongest dragon in Paldea. So, despite a small speed bump against Poppy, the Elite Four had all been crushed by our team of shinies. And to be honest, our fight against the champion Gita is equally as straightforward. By leading with Mabastiff, 2 crunches are all we need to take care of Gita's leader Sparthra. She then sends out Go-Goat, a Pokemon who is completely walled by our Corviknight. This gives us free reign to boost up Corviknight's stats. Just absolutely obliterates Gita's team in a downright disrespectful sweep of the Paldean champion. With that win, our team of shinies had survived long enough to become Paldean champions.
Il est monstrueux. Le truc le plus dur, c'était de trouver le shiny. Ça n'a pas été le combat.
As there are only 2 fights left in the game, which are considered to be the hardest of this entire challenge.
Pour moi, c'est fini,
and the
là.
first of those is Nemona, our rival who murdered our baby potato fletchling, as well as our beloved Gallade that I worked so hard to find. She's been the biggest challenge of this Nuzlocke, and her final team is insanely strong, packed with powerhouse Pokemon that can all dish out massive damage. So, as we approach Nemona, ready for our final showdown, I knew that this was our last chance to get revenge in the name of our fallen shinies. And I had a plan to do just that. My plan for revenge is centered around Corviknight, which is very fitting, since it inherited the yet another...
Ouais, bon. On va stopper là-dessus, les kids. On va stopper là-dessus, par contre. Je vais vous laisser là-dessus, moi. Je vais stopper. Sur ce chat, moi je vais vous laisser là-dessus. Je vous dis passez une bonne journée, une bonne soirée. À toutes, bisous, ciao. Bisous, ciao.